Hi guys, it's me, John. Today we're gonna talk about everyday makeup. So I've not been wearing a lot of makeup recently because I'm not going anywhere. I'm just staying at my room doing like schoolwork and doing uh, revisions, and so I've not been doing a lot of makeup. And today we're gonna talk about like how I do like my everyday makeup, where I just go out, like just put on something to make my skin looks a bit more even than usual. And let's get our tutorial started. So usually I will use two kind of like primers. So one would be like a hydrating base. I will use like maybe a gel cream from Neutrogena, or a hydrating primer from First Aid Beauty, or the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. Or the Too Faced Hangover RX primer as a hydrating base for my face. So today I'll be using the Neutrogena gel cream as my base. So this has like some dimethicone in it, so that it does slightly smooth the skin. I think it has dimethicone in it. I'm not sure, but this there's like water cream and the gel cream. I think both are really great. This just like gives your skin a boost of like hydration, and it does slightly have that like smoothing effect on the skin. After that, I will use smoothing primer. I will use like the E.L.F primer. Just take a glob and dot it all over the skin. A little goes a long way. Usually before I apply any makeup, I will use the hydrating base, and then I will put on the sunscreen, and then I will put on the blurring primer, so that this gives something to for the sunscreen to stick on. Because this is an everyday kind of like a routine, so I will be only using a foundation with a sponge, and I won't be like using concealer over on my face, because usually foundation is has a good enough coverage to cover my whole skin, and I don't really need that under eye highlight effect. Sometimes it will look gray on me, which I don't need that. And I will usually use not a lot of product. I use 3 pumps here. Usually I would grab more products on a sponge. If I'm using a brush, I will use less product. And slightly prime your eyes with the foundation. I would prefer to use a matte finish, kind of like a foundation. This is I'm using the Fenty Pro Filter Soft Matte Foundation in the shade 260. And I don't think this is a really a matte foundation, because I don't feel really dry using this. I don't see a lot of like cracking around my mouth, and it's quite long lasting, and I don't feel oily using this one. Another really nice option is like use a really light coverage kind of like foundation, like the ColourPop tinted moisturizer. It does give your skin a hint of color, slightly smooth the skin without it being like looking too shiny. So this gave me a really nice base. This is an optional step for me. I will use a pressed powder instead of a loose powder to just gently set the face and just set the perimeter and not the mouth area, because my mouth area is really dry. And just stamp some powder on, just a thin layer of powder, and that's good enough, because the matte foundation itself will hold up really great, and I will be like using a lot of like powder product that will help with the mattifying power of the foundation. So because I have like dry skin, I use a matte foundation, I use the hydrating base, and this usually will give me a really like smooth, a great result, and it will be like a very long lasting kind of like a foundation look. So I won't be like baking or doing anything or excessively powdering, except when I need it to be like stay put for a long period of time. I won't be using a lot of powder. I would just use a pressed powder to like slightly set my face, and then I will use a ABH bronzer. Any bronzer it's fine. This one is like one of the darker ones in my collection, and so you just need a very little amount of like bronzer, and then just slightly tap it off the skin, and then just slightly bronze the face. Just sweep it through the perimeter of the face. This is a really like easy to use kind of like a bronzer, and it's not a lot of fuss. You just need a really little product and it will like do the job. And for everyday natural kind of look, I would like to use a blush with a sheen, and this is a blush deal from Too Faced. On most of the days, I would like to use a blush that has a shimmer in it, or a shimmery blush, because this can like lit up the skin and give my skin a really pretty glow without looking like you have a lot of blush on, which I think it's a really great look. Like blush with a hint of highlight can like really brighten up the look on my skin. So I'll be using the Too Faced Fruit Cocktail Blush Duo, and in the shade Like My Melons. Pick this up. Just slightly tap off the color on your hands and then just put it on the cheeks and blend it into the bronzer. For the highlight, I'll be using the Too Faced Hyper Reflective Highlighting Palette. Usually, on the daily basis, I would like use highlight because I won't be having a lot of heavy makeup on the eyes, and I want the face to be really glowy. And this palette gives my skin a lot of glow, and I'll be using the shade Vanilla, which is a very kind of like a white, off-white yellowish cream shade, and this gives the skin a lot of glow. It's a very some would say it's a very glittery kind of a highlight, and I will agree with them. This is a more of an glittery highlight, but I like the look. So you can see, like, when you look forward, the shine doesn't peek through, but when you turn, the shine will like come alive. And I usually will use a brush to just blend everything. The highlight, again, it's an optional step. I don't usually put on highlight on a daily basis. I would just use a more shimmery, kind of like a blush or a shimmery bronzer to just make my skin look very glowy. But if I feel extra, I would just put on a very like a shimmery, kind of like a glittery kind of like a highlight to give my skin a very like extra, like kind of a dew. And usually, after I finish the base, I would set my face using a setting spray. So this will soften the like shimmer and locks in the powder into place. Let the setting spray dry a bit and then use a sponge to tap in the setting products, the setting spray. For the eyes, I'll be using again the palette. I will use the shade Chocolate, this shade. The bronzy shade. I'll just use the fingies, and then just put it on the eyes. And then just put it in the inner corner and just slightly blend out to 1/3 of the lid. You can use any kind of like a shimmer to blend in that area. And then I will use again the bronzer and use a fluffy brush. Take some bronzer, tap the excess to your arm and then just blend from the outer corner to the crease area. And then I will put on mascara. This step is optional again for me because mascara tends to like most mascara smudges on me, so I don't use them on a daily basis. And you can like tell me some good formula, but I think they will still smudge because of how my lashes grow. My lashes have the tendency to touch my like under eye area, so it will smudge no matter what kind of like primer or no matter what kind of like foundation, powder, concealer, and mascara I use. But there's preventative measure that I can use, so just use a fluffy brush or a very big blending brush, tap in some powder, loose or press, just slightly put some powder under the eyes. To set the area so the area is extra sad, extra matte, extra powdery. Call it if you like it. When this area is extra like dry and like extra smooth with extra powder, you can sweep off like the flake or the smudge on the area easier, and this doesn't transfer as easy as if you don't set it or if you don't like do anything in the area. And the last step is you will use brow gel. Any brow gel will do the trick. I don't have a lot. I have quite a bit of brows, so I don't have to like fill and then fill and then fill and then fill and then use a brush to use a gel to finish it. I would just put some gel on. Like pick your favorite brow gel. And it should do the trick. That's too much brow, but we will live with it or not. Like usually if I have too much brow, I'll just slightly use again the fluffy brush to clean up the brows, and then use a spoolie to brush them so that they don't look too crazy. Oh, you can see it's like the flakes here. You can see like it's not the mascara, it's just my eyes. So for my lips, I would just use the lip tint. Any lip tint would do. I'll be using the lip crayon from Colourpop in the shade Chubby Bunny. This is a crazy shade to use. In the camera it looks good. In real life I look like I have like pink lips, really pink lips, which I think it's fine. So this is the look. You don't have to use a lot of products. So for the base, you just have to have a primer, one primer. You just have to use this one and then this one. For the base, you should use a hydrating primer and then use a foundation that will self-set and control oil so that you don't have to use a powder. And for the cheeks and for like adding in color to the face, you just need a blush or a bronzer. You just need one step. That will do the trick. Or you can do all 3 steps, which it will like give a lot more color to the skin, a lot more reflectiveness to the skin. For the eyes, I usually would only do like a shimmer and then like slightly use a shade to give my crease some like definition, and I usually don't wear mascara because it smudges on me and I don't want to look like I have like something on my eyes. And if your mascara doesn't smudge on you, use it. Other than that, you don't have to use it. I prefer not to use a powder because it's just an extra step and I don't like extra steps. Even though I love to use powder so that I can have like a very smooth kind of like a canvas on my skin, but other than that, my skin is quite dry and I don't get really oily, so I don't use a powder. And for the lips, use anything that you like. I prefer like just a tint so that my lips don't look too dry or like white because of the foundation. And the reason why I don't use concealer because my skin is currently in a quite good shape. I've not been eating a lot of dairy. That's the trick. Good skin comes with a cost of less dairy, which I love cheese and cheese hates skin. That's all that I use on a daily basis. On pretty much that I don't film, I would do that steps. If you like so tell me down below on a daily basis what kind of makeup do you wear? Do you wear full face? Do you bake? Do you have time to bake? Do you have like time to do all the steps to perfect the skin? I certainly don't, and if I'm in a rush, like sunscreen, foundation, bronzer, brows, good to go. Like just use a sponge to pack it on and then just use a brush to just sweep some bronzer and then sweep it on your crease and then do the brows and you're good to go. So I hope you like my video. Please like, comment and subscribe to my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!